Hi, I'm Ellen.
I'm Jason.
I'm Coco.
I'm Carrie.
I'm Pat.
I'm Eva.
Alright, this speech is over the just influences from like childhood up until this point. So influences obviously are like a big part of all of our lives, from growing up, being super young, and even right now today, you know, we're all being influenced day in, day out, and those influences can shape us into the people that we are today, and like teach us lessons, and you know, and like obviously influences can be persuasive as well, but this is more about like my personal influences. And my big influences throughout my life was my grandfather and my grandfather's deer ranch, and then my first summer working with my uncle. So my grandfather was a super hard worker from a very young age. Like once he got out of high school, you know, he worked his way through college and all the way through law school, and he worked super hard to obviously make it through school and start his own law firm and do all the amazing things that he did. But even more than that, like for me, he was a very selfless person. Like he would put family and friends and all those, you know, family, friends, and anybody around him, they always came before him in his eyes. And actually that was her husband. But it influenced me in a big way, just watching him be the grandfather and the husband that he was, and the father to his kids, because it just showed me a lot about, you know, hard working, putting others before myself, and you know, doing things day in, day out for something other than me. And I just think that shaped me a lot into who I am, because you know, in everything that I do, I try and find a bigger purpose other than just me, you know, because, you know, just yourself you are just a small piece to a very big puzzle. And so if you can do things, I always saw him doing things for others, and that influenced me a lot to just always try and have that bigger purpose. And you know, whatever I'm doing day in and day out, I'm always trying to help people, and like strive to be, you know, as close as I can get to the man that he was. And so that just influenced me big time from whenever I was younger all the way up until now. And then his deer ranch that he had from a very young age as well. He had that ranch, and that was some of my very first memories of being in the outdoors, and like being in the outdoors and like hunting and, you know, hunting and fishing and helping out around the ranch and doing things like that. And it was just like my first memories of the outdoors and being around things like that, and learning about obviously just learning about the outdoors and like the world that God created for us. And that was always, or that still is, a big influence to me, because it showed me you know, how to hunt, and just hunting and being outside, and like all the values of life that maybe we don't look at every day, you know, because nowadays there's, you know, a lot of materialistic things that people may have, like, you know, like vehicles and nice clothes and big houses and all those kinds of things. But I like to think about the outdoors and be in the outdoors as much as I can whenever I do have the time, because it is, like, I guess you could say, in my personal opinion, you could say the purest form of life, you know, because that's obviously how we originated, was just, you know, we just had the earth, and that was it. And so growing up around the outdoors and fishing and hunting and working and all those kinds of things just really like shaped me to like always try and have my values and the things that can last, you know, like again, being outside. And also it all can tie into like family as well, you know, like you only have one family, and you know, you only have one earth. And so I just like to think about, it helps me think about the things that are, you know, you can't buy it and you can't make it and all those kinds of things. And so it teaches me to influence me to value the things that you don't have another one of, basically. And then the last thing is the first summer that I worked with my uncle when I was about 12 or 13. That was a very different experience than what I had growing up. You know, obviously younger, the summer times were just jumping in the pool and riding your bikes around the neighborhood and things like that, and obviously going out to the ranch and hunting and fishing and doing all that kind of stuff. But that first summer I worked with my uncle was like a big, almost like a culture shock to me, because it was long, hot days. If you don't get something done fast, good luck dealing with him. And just the main thing was the influence that I got from him. Like, that was like he is a true like go-getter, get things done, and he really, really showed me how to, make the most of my time and get things done as quickly as possible. Do something now rather than later, and that ties into a lot more, or it ties into more so of like a like not wasting time, and you only have so long, and just really, really showed me how to, see an opportunity or see something to do and go get it, and just go get it and just do it, and not think about and also just don't think about what anybody might think about you just going and doing something. And again, like a lot of what he did, which my grandfather as well, which he kind of learned from, or my uncle kind of learned from my grandfather as well, is like doing things for others. So, a lot of the work that we did was, working cows and baling hay and things like that, which in turn is going to tie into doing things for others, and just helping out other people. But just overall it influenced me big time to, be a go-getter, be a self-starter, and just go get it and just do things. And then obviously we all have influences from our younger years and even right now today, but like it's good to think back on your influences, and kind of like see where you came from, and what kind of shaped you into the person you are today. Just writing the outline for this speech and thinking about it really reminded me of like where I came from and the things that shaped me into who I am today. It almost kind of reminded me more so of who I am. But it's good to look back and think about your influences, the people, the things that influence you. And obviously this is just three little things in a big scheme of just life in and of itself. But it is super good to look back at your influences and remember who you are and where you came from. But those are my three influences.